All right, let's just dive right into this bizarre glitch in the matrix that physicists have literally been wrestling with for over a century. Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're going to have a bit of an intense, late-night, deep conversation about the true fabric of reality. We're getting into some totally mind-bending concepts from modern physics that suggest the universe, well, it might not be the solid, unchanging place we think it is. Actually, scratch that. It might literally be waiting for you to look at it.
I mean, we've all had that creepy late-night intuition that the universe kind of shifts when our backs are turned, right? You absolutely know that feeling. You turn the lights off, close the door, and for just a split second, you wonder, is the room still actually in there? Well, quantum physics suggests your gut instinct might actually be dead on. Reality might literally behave differently when your back is turned.
See, for centuries, we all just believed in this unshakable, objective reality. Good old classical physics told us that, a rock is a rock, a tree falling in a forest makes a sound whether you're standing there or not. We just assumed that distant stars, the buildings outside, even the chair you're sitting on right now, that they all existed permanently as hard physical matter, totally independent of whether a human being was there to observe them. Honestly, it was a really comforting thought.
But then, early 20th century science came along and completely shattered that assumption with the legendary double-slit experiment. This single, crazy experiment revealed a universe that is just far stranger than we ever imagined. So here's what they did. Physicists decided to fire microscopic particles of matter, like individual electrons, through a solid barrier that just had two tiny, narrow slits in it, aiming at a detector screen in the back. They basically just wanted to see how the fundamental building blocks of the universe behave when they're left completely 100% alone.
So, step 1, they fire the electrons at the slits. Step 2, and this is key, when the scientists don't put a detector there, when they literally do not look, the particles act like abstract fluid waves. They pass through both slits at the exact same time, creating this rippling interference pattern, almost like waves in water. But step 3 is where it gets totally crazy. When scientists actually place a detector there to look closely and see exactly which slit the electron goes through, the wave just vanishes. The electrons instantly act like solid physical marbles again, just passing through one single slit.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates the core mystery we're unraveling in this explainer today. Reality literally changes its fundamental behavior based entirely on whether or not it's being actively watched. When observed, reality is solid, it's localized, it's definite. But when unobserved, it exists as this fluid probability, a wave of potential just happening in multiple places all at once. It's like the universe literally knows when you're looking.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is what physicists call wave function collapse. Before you look, a quantum object is in what's called a superposition. It's basically a hazy blur of all possible states at once. But the exact literal millisecond an observation is made, that multi-possibility wave snaps into a single concrete reality. That massive leap from a cloud of probability to hard physical matter, it happens instantaneously, all just because someone walked into the room and took a measurement.
To really wrap your head around how insane this is, I want you to imagine a hyper-realistic open-world video game, right? As your character is sprinting across the map, the game's graphics engine is working tirelessly. But here's the thing, it doesn't load the whole world at once. The engine only renders the exact room or street or landscape that your character's eyes are actively looking at. The exact second you turn your back on this massive digital building, it ceases to exist as a 3D object. It just collapses right back into raw code. Well, a lot of modern theoretical physicists argue that our actual physical universe might operate exactly like this game engine. In computer science, this exact process is called lazy evaluation. You save system memory and optimize computing power by only creating what is strictly, absolutely necessary. Anything unobserved just reverts back to unrendered lines of code. The universe, it seems, is incredibly efficient. It's basically refusing to render a particle into hard matter until someone is actually there to demand it.
And what's truly mind-blowing about this is how perfectly the data compression of a digital simulation matches these weird glitches we see in quantum mechanics. Think about it. Video game optimization only renders what the player sees. Quantum mechanics only collapses wave functions upon measurement. You guys, it is the exact same mechanism. Nature is effectively saving processing power by leaving all these unobserved things as raw, invisible fields of probability.
But, okay, if the universe is rendering reality on demand like this, it begs a massive, absolutely mind-bending question. Who or what is the player? Like, what exactly counts as an observer, capable of forcing the universe to load? Is it a mechanical detector? Is it a camera lens? Or does it actually require a living, breathing mind?
Well, this brings us to a wildly fascinating and super highly debated idea called the von Neumann-Wigner interpretation. This theory essentially suggests that mechanical detectors just aren't enough to collapse the wave function. Instead, it argues that a conscious mind, actual awareness itself, is the non-physical trigger required to finalize the physical universe. In this view, your consciousness doesn't just passively perceive reality, it's literally creating it.
Now, as you can probably guess, not everyone loved this theory. Albert Einstein? He famously hated the idea of an observer-dependent reality. He sarcastically asked if a mouse looking at the universe changes its state or if reality requires a measurer with a PhD. He actually quipped, "Does the moon only exist when someone is looking at it?" He just couldn't stomach the idea that his bed diffused into a hazy wave of probability the moment he closed his bedroom door, only to snap back into solid wood and sheets when he looked at it again.
But despite Einstein's skepticism, heavy hitters in science have absolutely continued to explore this link. You've got Roger Penrose, a brilliant mathematician, and Stuart Hameroff, an anesthesiologist. They took this a massive step further with a theory called ORC-OR, or Orchestrated Objective Reduction. They basically set out to find the actual biological hardware for this reality-collapsing mechanism. They propose that consciousness actually happens inside tiny structures in our brain cells right when these quantum states collapse.
Now, I know the underlying math and physics behind this are incredibly dense, but the core idea is actually super elegant. There are these tiny, cylindrical structures in our brain neurons called microtubules, and they might actually be acting as biological quantum computers. Inside these microtubules, proteins called tubulins exist in a quantum superposition, literally processing multiple possibilities all at once. And it's right here that the brain might be orchestrating these reality-collapsing moments, linking our very thoughts directly to the fundamental structure of the cosmos.
According to Penrose's side of the theory, a quantum superposition isn't just some neat mathematical quirk. It actually tears a tiny physical rift in spacetime. Yeah, a literal rift. And when that separation of spacetime geometry gets too massive or too heavy, it becomes incredibly unstable. It forces a choice. It decays and collapses into a single universe state. And that exact microscopic moment of collapse, that self-correction of spacetime, is exactly what we experience as a discrete moment of human consciousness.
So think about what this means. Rather than consciousness just being some random, accidental byproduct of evolution, just a bunch of wet neurons firing in the dark, it might be something far, far more profound. Consciousness might actually be an intrinsic feature of the action of the universe itself. It could literally be the fundamental mechanism that ratchets reality forward, frame by frame, taking a universe of infinite possibilities and locking it directly into the present moment.
Under this framework, life is essentially the ultimate multiplayer simulation. Every single time you look at something, every time your consciousness registers an event, you are actively pulling it out of a void of probability and rendering it into hard matter. You are quite literally a node in a massive network, interacting with the ultimate digital hardware, constantly updating the map of reality just by opening your eyes.
Which leaves us with this final, striking, existential thought to keep you up tonight. If no one is in the room to observe it, does physical reality actually exist? When you turn the lights off later and close your eyes to go to sleep, is your room really there as solid matter? Or does it revert back into a hazy wave of code, with the universe just waiting, conserving its energy until you decide to look back? Thank you so much for exploring this mind-bending explainer with me today. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.